Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Please visit twostrangersonePodcast.net.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. And now, here's Chris Malone and Paul Versprillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And dear Lord, grant me the strength to deal with idiots, assholes, imbeciles, mutants, morons, and maniacs. I came across that prayer in a video, and I just I loved it so much. I actually put it in the notes for the show. There's a guy, Vic DiBettetto. I always fuck up his name. Did you ever see the video? Came out like last year, the bread and the milk.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's a guy from Staten Island, and real Goomba, and he did a video where he's a comedian. Right. And he's been around for like 20 years, and like all these other comedians that have gotten much more famous, he worked with them back in the day. And unfortunately, he never really got his big break. And he was a school bus driver during the day, and then, he does comedy at night, and he lives out in Staten Island, and he tends to do places like, like just north of New York City or down in Atlantic City. So, from Staten Island, he would do a lot of driving. And I guess and I've been following him on YouTube, and he does these little videos. Sometimes the videos are like as short as like 10 seconds long, and then some of them go for about 10 minutes, and it's all just these funny vignettes where it's him being like a typical Italian husband, where his wife is a pain in the ass, and it's like his real life stuff, but then then he exaggerates a bit. So he became really, really famous when he did this bit called the bread and the milk, and it was about this time last year when we had all the crazy snowstorms they said were coming. So like you hear like he's screaming like, I gotta get the bread and the milk, I gotta get the bread and the milk, I gotta get the bread and the milk, and he carries the camera with him. Like he's getting in the car, like, he has to fucking get the bread and the milk before the fucking storms come in. So he's done a whole bunch of videos since then, but that was like the one that kind of like really put him on the map. So when he did this one about going through the drive-through at the ATM, the drive-through ATM, and there's, dear Lord, grant me the strength to deal with idiots, assholes, imbeciles, mutants, morons, and maniacs. And I think I could do that one pretty much, because I was subscribed to him on YouTube, and what had happened was he just did a video recently about Kanye West. And, once again, this is a real Italian New Yorker, and he's like, fucking smile, you fucking prick, how dare you go on the fucking stage and try to interrupt, when someone's accepting their speech. And so he was just... So that kind of video kind of got me back into watching his other vignettes that he makes, and But then he kind of like, if you watch the video, he kind of says something like a little racist. He's like, "You should be on that stage tap dancing." And I was like, "Oh boy, you're gonna get letters."
Letters.
And then right before, unfortunately, today after I got out of work a little late, or not late, but I had to end up helping a coworker, so we didn't get a chance. Someone was going to be on the show. Sean the Weasel Burnett, a buddy of mine. And it shows you like how the internet really does like kind of like when you can make connections with people on the internet that like lead to, I would say, friendships. I mean, there's a guy that like I've literally known him since 2002, yet we've never met in real life. And coincidentally enough, he lives down in Birmingham, Alabama. So he's probably not too far away from Durrell. So he listens to the show, and unfortunately, by the time he hears this episode, I was late. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I was hoping he would have stood on Facebook at least for a little while. I was trying to reach him, but I guess, after a while he was tired of waiting. And so he would have been on the show. But, he's a pretty interesting individual. He's done like independent wrestling. He's in school right now to be an undertaker, to be a funeral director, excuse me. So, there's that, there's the famous wrestler, The Undertaker. And there's a show actually right now on the WGN network called Wrestling with Death, where it's about a guy who it's a reality show about a family that runs a funeral home. And I don't know what state it is, but it's obviously like very, very, country area. And then the guy who runs the funeral home also like is a wrestler. Like I think they run their own promotions also. So he makes money one way, and then he makes money, and so then they kind of have like the wrestlers go into the funeral home and showing them, and it's funny because you see like these guys that they're wrestlers. They're not I don't want to say professional. That's not the right word, but they're not ready to deal with like doing like funeral director stuff, and so you see him like being all creeped out and shit. Like he's supposed to be a big tough guy. Dead bodies don't fucking. You shouldn't be scared of dead bodies. I used to, when I was back when I lived downtown Manhattan, I literally worked next door to a funeral home, and I worked in a check cashing place. So we had the guys from the funeral home used to come in the check cashing place all the time. And since we were like neighbors, like we would do favors for each other and stuff like that. And and the guy said, he goes, you have nothing to fear about the dead. It's the living you got to be fucking me worried about. Dead guy's not trying to kill you or take your money or whatever. It's I prefer to be around dead people. I forgot how he said it, but it's the living that'll fuck you over. You have nothing to worry about from the dead. Dead guy's not going to get up and fucking do anything. Sue. Oh, so you've been kind of stressing out recently over the.
Well, I mean, we got some good news coming after the commercial, but so basically, as everybody knows, Kelsey had, her kid got shook by the girl, and the girl was put in jail for doing exactly that, and her trial.
Would you? Do you mind? Not to just for new listeners of the show. I mean, what had happened was your fiance, she had a child from a previous relationship. The child was being babysat by the father.
Yeah, it was last year around this time, actually.
And she was being babysat by I'm just saying this just to catch listeners up to what's going on.
Right.
That the father's new girlfriend shook the baby, and to the point where it caused brain damage. She went to jail, but and I just wanted to catch people up for those who don't know what's going on.
Right. So basically, today the jurors went in and deliberated, and apparently it didn't take them very long. But they only convicted her of a misdemeanor, which I don't remember what the exact charge was. There were 4 different charges that she was going to be brought up on. They could only convict her of one. And basically, the judge, because she's been in jail for a year, it was time served.
Oh yeah, okay. When you get locked up.
Right. So there you go. It didn't turn out very well. So apparently, she's supposed to be paying some kind of restitution. We're waiting to see exactly what that is, if anything, because this girl could be on welfare for the rest of her life, and she may not even get a penny. Yeah,
it's one of those deals where I guess the court orders the restitution, but how can you replace the life of this, child?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things where, like, what happened to, we're going to get her 11 years and convict this woman, and then all of a sudden she got a year, basically, and now she's out. It's ridiculous. And for me, I'm just sitting here going, like, what was the point of having a trial? What was the point if this was going to happen? I mean, apparently all the jurors, from what she was told, all the jurors walked out and were crying. But a couple of them were crying because they couldn't do anything about it. But from what I heard, like, her ex got really grilled on the stand. I kind of almost think that might have been what it was, because whatever was said, because Kelsey wasn't in the courtroom when this was going on. So, it's just
Yeah, and it's one of those deals where where Kelsey is a mom, you're a dad, I'm a dad, you want to hope that nothing bad happens to the kid, but when it's like you're so out of control, you want to put faith in people,
right,
when people are taking care of your child and you're not around, and it's stuff like this, like I've been fighting for custody for my daughter. It's literally been 2 years now. Like the anniversary just passed, a couple days ago, and because I want my daughter to be home. I'm in no, when you're not in control of whatever environment that they are at, when they're not with you,
right?
And you hope for the best, but of course, it's in a situations like you expect the worst, and it kind of kills you because it's like. You have no fucking control, and the court's kind of like, you really feel helpless when the court, like, and especially in a situation like this, I feel that the court jailed, Kelsey's
they
daughter.
did. Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, it's just, you guys were supposed to do your job and convict this woman, and yet you couldn't even do that. It's just I just don't understand. Why couldn't you have? Why didn't this girl get convicted? Why? Well, I mean, she got convicted, but she didn't get what she should have gotten. And it's just ridiculous to me. I feel like there was a miscarriage of justice here, and I feel like they need to, this girl needs to answer for what she did. I mean, there's some things that she's going to see and see if she can do, and I don't really want to talk about that on the podcast, especially if certain people are listening to this, which I highly doubt, but you never know. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think that they just need to pay for what they did. Yeah. This woman basically just got away with murder, so to speak, and it shouldn't have been allowed. It shouldn't have happened. And
because Kelsey's daughter is, luckily, I mean, she is still alive, but she's obviously now suffering.
Well, see, that's the thing. For the rest of her life, she's going to end up having to be taking care of Sophia, and basically she's worked all this time and it's so hard to get Sophia to the point where she has, and now it's kind of feels like it was for nothing because this woman's not getting anything. And she's going to continue to do that. I'm not going to allow her to just be sulk about this. We'll move on and be fine with it, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's don't sit there and promise a woman, or not even just a woman, a mother of a child that just got injured, that you're going to get this girl convicted and then not even come through with it. It's just,
it's frustrating. It is.
It's very frustrating, and for me, she just needs to, basically we need to try to see what we can do and take steps from me. Personally, I want to try to do another, because she at one point had a GoFundMe page, and I kind of was thinking about that, and Kelsey is not really, wanting to do one right at the moment, but, if there's, if people want to help donate to her, and, for the little girl, I wouldn't mind doing it. I just, I don't want to get slapped around. Why did you start that page? Slap.
Yeah, because you want to, because when you go to the page and you kind of you're kind of reliving it, you're kind of it takes a lot out of your soul to keep going back to that and say please help, and such a crazy situation. And
right. So it is what it is, and we'll move on. But it's just and then something else happened, which I can't talk about that on the podcast. If I talk about that, I'm going to get screwed. So let's just say that somebody made my day worse than what it was, and it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. Which leads me to what I think we should talk about, Chris. Why do people expect you to do things at the last minute?
Yeah, I mean, and I feel bad because I know you're I had called you at the last minute the other day. Paul, I need you to. I just got a car and I need.
Oh, did you kind of when I put that status up? Did you kind of hide yourself?
I was kind of that's why I didn't usually. I'll respond. I the people who I love on my Facebook page. The people that I love are the people that I give the most snarky fucking answers to. I'm
son of a bitch.
I'm polite to people I hate. The people I love are the people I bust their fucking balls. So I didn't comment on that because because I know the other day. Long story short, I not a new car, new to me. My tax return came in. And, the car that I was driving, is going on 12 years old. So, I got a new car, and it's pretty fucking awesome. It's a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. It's fucking badass, bro. But, and at the time I had called Paul. I'm like, I don't have anyone to, I got my car and I got this new car. I need someone to help me drive both cars back to the place. But well, I mean, honestly, at that time, when I was just looking, I was just looking at the car, and so I at the time, because you go and you look at cars, and I had checked out a few places, and you go online, and you go on eBay, and you go on Craigslist, and and you go to these, and you look at dealerships, and let me tell you, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person to go through this, but, Rochester is literally fucking filled, especially out in like Greece and the suburban areas. There are tons of car dealerships here in Rochester. But you would think that in a place that's like swimming in fucking car dealerships, there would be, because I said, okay, let me do the nerdy internet thing. Let me go on Yelp. Yelp, is a site that helps, you rate businesses and stuff like that. And let me tell you, I couldn't find one fucking dealership in all of Rochester that fucking had like decent ratings on Yelp. And obviously, I mean, that's a site where, most likely you're going to get, the squeaky wheel gets oil, the people are going to complain more. You're more likely to jump online and complain about something than say something nice. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're nice, if everything's happy and wonderful, you're not going to really tell anybody. When it's time to complain, that's when you jump online. And they fucked me and they did this and they tried to upgrade me with this and and they promised me one car and then they did the bait and switch and got me something else. And so there was not one fucking like dealership in Rochester that and I went to the Better Business Bureau website, and it's funny because like you see like the Better Business, like people fucking complaining about such and such auto place, and then like you see like there's actually on the Better Business Bureau website there's actually like a place like for the business to respond, and so it's like, oh well, if we feel that you've been slighted, please give such and such a call. And like, yeah, of course, when you deal with, because like the girl I was seeing like last year, she used to work for like a Honda dealership out here, and she told me fucking horror stories. The salesman, and and it is a dog eat dog world. I mean, it's there's no, it's all commission. It's all and these people, car dealers, car salesmen, like they don't give a fuck about your history. You could be the biggest fucking you have 50 felonies. They don't care. As long as you sell, if you sell a lot, they will hire you. And and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that a person who has 50 felonies on their record, shouldn't be part of our society. I mean, if it's someone trying to work or whatever, but it's a business model that breeds pure ruthlessness. You know what I'm saying? People will tell you anything to sell that car. People will lie, they'll cheat, they'll fucking, they'll smack together, whatever paperwork that it looks like, the car is doing fine. It's a really, really horrible business model. And it's a shame that, you would think in a place like Rochester, that has these big giant auto malls. I mean, go out west a little bit and there's literally fucking fields and fields of cars, but the salesmen are fucking heartless. There's no it was just frustrating dealing with it. So I was doing a little bit of research and I came across a Crown Victoria. And of course they could be totally bullshitting me, but apparently it came from Ohio. And the car was fucking absolutely beautiful. I mean, not that I'm Mr. fucking mechanic myself, but I looked under the car. I brought my flashlight with it. I looked under the hood. The car was fucking beautiful. I mean, under it was nice and clean. And of course, when I say clean, I mean it didn't look like it was fucking ruined. I've
a couple suspects pissed in the back.
Well, that's, I mean, it was the Chiefs car allegedly. I mean, they could have been giving me a fucking story, but I mean, the inside seems to be very well taken care of. I mean, I've driven in police cars. I used to be an auxiliary police officer. Those cars, I mean, they do take tons of abuse. They do take. They're sitting out there idling for hours on end. Once they hit like 100,000 miles on a police car is 200,000 miles on anyone else's car. But and the guy actually, the original price that we had discussed, he had actually knocked the $100 off because one of the tires was kind of, the drive tire was actually like a little worn down, which, I mean, luckily, it wasn't my whole fucking tax return. And and I've always wanted to drive a fucking Crown Victoria. I've always wanted to have the police car. I mean, they have the Chevy Impalas, which are like the smaller versions of the police cars now. But I mean, I've always wanted the fucking boat, man. And and once again, doing the nerdy online thing, you go online and there are tons of videos online about Crown Victorias, like people that like repairs and upkeep and people who drive them, and it's one of those few things that like they're actually like fan clubs for Crown Victorias. You know what I'm saying? There are people who it's actually like a community. And so it was pretty fucking cool, I mean, and if I ever have to do like basic maintenance and repairs, there are fucking tons of videos online about me, I've always been the type like, have you seen my other car, fucking tons of stickers on it. I mean, it looked like something out of fucking Mad Max. Like this one, I am not adding anything. I'm not putting anything cool looking on it. I mean, the only thing that it doesn't have that I want to put on it is the push bar in the front, that grill thing. I want to get that. One, because I mean, I had it on my old car, and it looks fucking badass, and it's intimidating. Plus, I want to have it just because it looks fucking cool. It basically says, I don't mind if I smash into you because my damage will be limited, and I will fucking push in your fucking crumple zone. So I was, so I got the car. And and I didn't realize that with it being from Ohio, you need to the person selling you it, for future reference for anybody who lives in Rochester, when you get the title from Ohio, the person has to notarize it. I learned that the hard way the next day at the DMV. But luckily, the guy was there, and he drove to the DMV for me. Like I was gonna go out and meet him at the place, and he's like, no, don't worry, I'm out running errands right now, because it was still like relatively early in the morning because the car dealership didn't even open until like 11. And he's like, no, and he drove to the, out here in Rochester, the DMV's in the mall. Well, one of our DMV's is in the mall, which is actually, you know about that.
Is that where I work? Yes, I know. Continue.
And I
don't work at the DMV. Okay, let's stop right there.
And so, luckily, with a couple of bucks I saved, I bought 2 new tires for the back. And, the place that does the tires also does car inspections. And the guy did, passed inspection, because I was also kind of worried. Like I said, oh my God, I'm going to take it for the inspection. They're going to say, oh, you need this, you need that, another, couple grand or whatever. But it passed the inspection, and oh my God, it drives like a fucking dream. It's like, it's a granddaddy car. You know what I'm saying? It's a big fucking boat. And when I was a kid, not when I was a kid, but I've had the privilege of driving Cadillacs and not my Cadillacs. I've driven Cadillacs, other people's Cadillacs that where I was just.
Chris has many Cadillacs.
Well, no, I'm just saying I've been an errand boy, where I've when people really have money, they could afford to just tell someone, oh, here, take my car, for you, the things you got to do are take my car to the mechanic or whatever. So I've driven Cadillacs, I've driven Lincoln Town cars. I'm saying just more of a and plus I used to work for FedEx, so I'm used to driving a big fucking unwieldy fucking truck or whatever. So I mean, stuff that doesn't require a commercial driver's license, which I may, now that like I'm getting a little taste of, like I got to get myself a commercial driver's license, because the job I have right now sucks balls. And I'm seriously considering getting a CDL so I can get a better job, because now that I have this fucking monster. After I came across something online, and then I was like, oh, then I see that it's not available in Rochester and it's not available in New York State at all, is Uber. And I know they're still fighting a good fight, because when I went to Comic-Con back in October of last year or September last year, there was an Uber booth there, and it was sort of basically it was one promo, like your first ride is free with Uber. And what it is it's a company, and of course, a company obviously is going to go try and make as much money as they can. And it's an app on your phone that basically says, we can, if you want to get picked up, it's a taxi service, it's a car service that it's all done with like your debit card. So the money's, you don't need any cash on you right there. Because, and that's the opposite. If you take a car service nowadays, you almost always have to have cash. They curse you out if you have to. If they have to use their special machine, because they want to work with cash. They don't want to work with the credit card, debit card system, because that means that money's recorded and they have to fucking pay taxes on it. So it's a purely debit card, credit card service. So the driver gets paid, and basically it's a taxi service where people use their everyday cars. So you go on the app and you go, oh, I want to go.
So it's basically Lyft, basically.
Yeah, and Lyft, and Lyft is the other major one. The Uber and Lyft are the Coke and Pepsi of these quote unquote ride sharing companies. Now, of course, once again, being the nerd that I am, I did go online, and there are a lot of like Uber drivers that don't like working for Uber. Only because, like right now, and this it does sound real ridiculous. Uber takes 20% of the fare, which is a lot. I mean, that's but they get you the gig. That's sort of, and I guess there are people who've been with Uber for like 4 years now, where when they first started with the company, they had like, it was a 5% charge or something. I don't know the exact numbers, but slowly as the years have gone by, Uber has kind of upped their rates and their cut of the action, where before it was 5%, then it's slowed up to 7%, then to 10%, then to 15%, now it's 20%. So I mean, like I said, there's a downside to it, but I mean, it would supplement my income. It would be sort of a deal where I get out of I work afternoons every anyway. The most of these videos, when people are like how to be an Uber driver and stuff like that, most of these people would say driving, you tend to get more business at night. Saying it's people coming home from bars, it's people going out to bars. I mean, yeah, you got to deal with drunken assholes, and so I would think, okay, on the days that I don't have my daughter, since I'm still fucking fighting for custody.
I just picture this. I picture we're doing the podcast live from Chris's car. As he drives somebody, and as you interview them, and then they put a gun to your head.
Oh my god! Well, taxi cab confessions. I think I'm good with talking with strangers. I mean, if I could just like set up like a GoPro camera or something like that.
Let's put it this way: where you work, if you were to do Uber there, and anybody you actually were able to pick anybody up from over there, I would carry a gun if I were you.
I mean, no, yeah, that's. Yeah, I wouldn't, because see, now the good thing about Uber is that you can decide what fares you want to take. There's a thing that comes up on your phone and it says, there's a person looking for a ride at such and such. And if it's in the middle of the fucking hood, I don't have to respond. I don't have to click yes. Now also that, like I said, mind you, this is all, credit. This is all credit and debit. I'm saying I'm not carrying cash on me. And the person who set it up, I mean, I don't know if they paid for the ride already. But I think it's one of those deals where I think they charge you first, because then if you have an issue, like let's just say, the person, the car, they pick up in a car and the car is dirty or something like that. Like then they could dispute it afterwards. But I mean, up front, it's like, I think you pay up front. And plus, I can't see hoodlums doing the Uber thing. Like,
you'd be surprised, but no, I don't see it either. But I wouldn't be surprised. And
especially in a town like Rochester that has as many colleges as it does. I mean, kids, hopefully would be, it would be interesting, but I don't think it's available here in Rochester.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think legally it's not.
Lyft was taking out of New York State as far as I know, so if that was happening, Uber probably won't be able to do it either.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's one of those deals, I'm glad I got my new car. And it drives like a fucking dream, and I mean, of course, I hope I'm saying this now, and I hope it stays, because and it's a 2007, and once again, like I said, I do understand that it's probably been driven hard or whatever, but most cars, will give you 10 years worth of service out of them before they finally die. So, and like I said, I was driving a 12-year-old car, and let me tell you, once you fix the things, once you put in a new catalytic converter and control arms and everything like that, the car that I was driving is fairly much good as new. I mean, it's just, the control arms are fucking worn down, and it wears down the front tires are just, a lot more worn than the back tires, the driving tires. Right. And then the catalytic converter, and then plus the catalytic converter was sort of my fault, because I'm impatient. I don't wait for the car to heat up. So I'm like, I fucking just, I get in the car, I just want to turn it on and go. So that was a little bit of me on the catalytic converter. And it just wear and tear. I mean, driving in fucking Rochester sucks balls anyway. So,
but anyways, getting back to what people asking me shit at the last minute, asshole, taking over the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's just there's a certain person in my life that continues to think that they can ask me at the last minute to do stuff, and it's like, yeah, if I can do it, that's fine, but don't get fucking pissed off when I sit there and I tell you no, especially when I'm trying to make sure my girl's okay because of what just happened. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna have a fucking reaction to that shit, then don't ask me to do stuff. You know?
Well, it's like when you are a reliable person, you know, like I even the other day I walk into work, and this was a big problem I used to have with my ex-wife. Like, can I take off my jacket, please, before I walk? You know, when I walk in the door after a long day's work, you know, could I take off my jacket? Could I take off my shoes? Could I get fucking comfortable before you fucking burden me with your bullshit? You know, you know, the other day, you know, I'm at work, and like, you know, I literally I haven't clocked in yet. I'm literally like in my jacket, and with the weather being the way it is, I wear a button-down flannel shirt over my work shirt because it's cold outside, and I don't necessarily feel like zipping up my jacket. So I wear, like, you know, this, you know, comfortable flannel shirt. I have, you know, a wool cap on, my leather jacket. For all intents and purposes, you know, I can understand, like, if I kind of look like I was in uniform, I kind of look like I was ready to work. I mean, I'm literally walking to the door, hat still on my head, jacket on, the flannel shirt over over my uniform shirt. I mean, obviously, I see the same fucking 30 people 3 times a day, every day, because they're all fucking alcoholics coming to buy beer. But you know, I mean, just as soon as I walk in the door, and you know, and that's what kills me is that, you know, the people I work with, you know, aren't doing their fucking job,
right? You
know, so they know they can rely on me. They know that, you know, if they need me to do something, it's going to get done. And I was like, as soon as I walk in the fucking door, you know, I need help with this. You know, I'm like, you know, and you know, one of the customers is someone I know I'm a little more comfortable with, and I'm like, there's like 5 people you could have went and asked this for. Yeah, but I know you're going to do it. Fucking, it's like I would
have been like, can you wait 2 seconds while I go clock in? Because no offense to you, ma'am or sir, but I ain't gonna do shit until I get paid.
Oh yeah, no, that's you know, and that's kind of, and it's funny because you know, that's like one of the huge things where I work at. They're big on, like, don't you dare work if you're not on the clock. You know, like even if you're on lunch and like a customer like needs you to do something, like, you know, there's all these crazy rules. You know, you have to clock back in, and then you like, it's almost like if a customer like interrupts your lunch break, like you're like allowed to like restart your lunch and then get paid for the time or whatever. It's a whole weird thing, but and with that being said, they don't want you. Don't you dare do anything for any customer until you've clocked in. You know, and that's the whole thing. Is like, you know, can I walk over to the computer for 2 fucking seconds? Can I take off my jacket? That's what kills me, is that I can understand if I look like I was at work, you know. I literally have like my leather jacket, you know, a flannel shirt and a knit cap on, you know, coming in from the fucking tundra. And, you know, so, yeah, I mean, so, you're talking about, like, when you become a reliable person, you know, sort of like, you know, like last episode I talked about, like, my baby mama, you know, talk about, you know, my cell phone wasn't working and she made a big fucking deal about it. Oh, you got to get that fixed or whatever. And holy boy, shit, that she kind of, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, she blocked me on Facebook and stuff like that. Now, mind you, I haven't spoken to her. You know, I only talked to her when it's in reference to my daughter.
Oh, she blocked you on Facebook?
Yeah, she blocked me on. That's the whole thing. Like, she sends me all these messages, and then I go to respond back, and it's, you know, you cannot, you know, user has disabled this account or whatever the case may be. I don't think she disabled it. I think she blocked me, you know. And it's like, you know, you leave all these crazy fucking messages, you know, and then, you know.
So how much was the message you? You know, that's so stupid.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is I can understand if, you know, I'm really trying my best. I talk about it on a podcast because it's something that's part of my life, but, you know, I can understand if I was sending her messages or sending rude messages or even contacting her with nonsense, which, you know, she'll contact me for nonsense. You know, that's why it reminds me of what you're talking about, you know, contacting me about shit that has nothing to do with me. You know, go live your life. Go, you know, go bother your next guy. You know, that's you're his problem now. You know, Don't try to be my fucking problem. I got enough fucking problems. I don't need another one.
Well, let's get to the commercial. And let's get to something good. And I think all of you know what we're going to talk about, but let's get to commercial here.
And we'll be right back with more dick and fart jokes.
Dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Oh my God, Paulie!
Oh, I know.
It finally happened after months of speculation, after years of wishing and months of speculation, and one country almost going to war with another, and high-powered executives losing their jobs, and hacking controversies. Even the fucking president of the United States kind of talked about it. Holy shit! It finally happens, it's to the point where, with the official announcement, now we know the wheels. Before it was always speculation, and kind of like, are they going to do it, or they're going to, at that point, everything up to this point was speculation. You could say, we think we're going to do that. We hope they're going to do that. But it's been finally announced. Spider-Man is coming to Marvel. The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wait, I'm jerking it as you speak of this.
It's Spidey finally comes home to the people, and Sony. The original trilogy, and I don't want to keep going back to which movies were good or which movies are bad. I think Sony meant well, but they are, it's. With great power comes great responsibility. And, they were given great power, and unfortunately they abused their responsibility. They didn't follow through. They didn't give them what they wanted. And
I'll tell you where this all went fucking downhill for them. It started with Spider-Man 3 in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that because we beat that to death. We keep talking about.
I know, but for context, Sony probably started fucking themselves over when they forced Sam Raimi to do something that he didn't want to do, and 4 and 5 could have been done with the same people, and they decided to go in a new direction, and it fucked them over.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to tell you something right now, first of all, Andrew Garfield's out, thank God. Don't get me wrong, he did do his job, but I don't want somebody that's British playing Spider-Man, I'm sorry. You can call me a racist for that, or whatever it is when somebody speaks British, but, I'm happy with that decision. They seem to be trying to do a whole different storyline to this, try to find a new actor. But I'm not gonna lie. If they brought Tobey Maguire back, I would probably piss my pants.
Well, the one of the bigger arguments that had happened, that when they did the quote unquote reboot, when it went from Spider-Man to Amazing Spider-Man, a lot of people said, do we really need the fucking origin story again? Can't we just go into a movie that says, okay, here it is. Here it is. Everyone knows where Spider-Man is. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone, we don't really need a fucking origin story. So, Marvel, is, they've already said, Spider-Man, there's not going to be an origin movie, and it's good. It's, thank God that, it would be fucking, the fucking definition of redundant if they did it again.
Right.
But, let the movies stand on their own laurels. Okay, look, even like when the Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of rebooted fucking The Incredible Hulk, the Eric Bana one was on its own, and that was a fucking horrible, the Ang Lee Eric Bana.
I'm gonna say this. Look. For the record, I didn't think that was a terrible movie. So a lot of people were pissing on it, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I didn't feel like that was a bad movie. I didn't really. I mean, the second one was okay. It wasn't good. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever seen. But and again, the biggest thing that pissed me off was not having Edward Norton be Eric Banner. But
no, Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I was saying Eric Bana, the actor Eric Bana was playing Bruce Banner. Banner.
Yeah.
But at least like when they had the Mark Ruffalo Hulk in the Avengers, he referenced the Edward Norton Hulk. He says, I tried to kill myself and it didn't work, which was part of the book. I'm that nerdy where I actually read the novelization of the first movie of the Edward Norton one. And it's actually a deleted scene on the DVD of that movie where him as David Banner is about to fucking kill himself. He takes a gun, puts it to his fucking head, and then as he pulls the trigger, his body turns into the Hulk, making himself impervious to bullets. And he goes, the green guy, that guy saved me, or didn't want to die, so he didn't let me kill myself. And there's a reference to that in the Avengers. So at least like there's a hint of with the Hulk, they didn't have to go, okay, let's make yet another fucking origin story movie. And even like what I like is that they're even showing respect to the Edward Norton Hulk, because in the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, you actually see Mark Ruffalo's eyes turn green, which is what happened in the Edward Norton version, and also happened back in the old Incredible Hulk TV show. So they're smart enough to know. I mean, it's so relieving for the Marvel to say, no, we're not going to do another fucking origin stories movie.
You know what would be really awesome, and I know it's not going to happen because it's too soon, but it would be really awesome if they slid like Spider-Man in as a extra scene. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they could. I don't think they would be able to get it out by that time.
Well, I mean, there's right now. I mean, everyone when the Avengers 2, when Age of Ultron comes out, everyone's gonna be watching that fucking post-credit scene. Saying every nerd, we know that that you don't leave a movie until the post-credit scene.
Side note, real quick. Apparently, they I think it was IGN. Mm-hmm. It was either IGN or ComingSoon.net that was interviewing. Who are they interviewing? What's his name? I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. Guy that plays Wolverine. God, what the fuck?
Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman, yes. I don't know why that was escaping me. Let's see. It's almost 12:30 at night. Like, they were interviewing him, like, yeah, did you hear about the Marvel deal? And he's like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, I would love to see, Wolverine versus Spider-Man and all that shit.
Well, yeah, he basically said if they were to ever make a Wolverine Spider-Man movie, he's there.
Right.
Which of course, I mean,
I don't think
now we're talking about 20th Century Fox. We're talking.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that's included in the Marvel universe. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But hopefully Fox looks at this and sees how successful this is going to be and allows these characters to jump into the Marvel universe as well. And I don't need to see every single X-Men, but I would like to see Wolverine involved in the Avengers, because he was, apparently, at one point.
Yeah.
Seems like every fucking superhero was in the Avengers.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a rotating cast of people, and that's kind of, that's what keeps the Avengers kind of like alive. And
you know what they can do now, and I know you're excited about this. They can do a Hulk, Iron Man, and Spider-Man movie now, if they wanted to. Ooh, I like the idea of that.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
I mean, it was what I was going to say, it was, I want to say it was John Galbo, our buddies from Agents of Geek. He had posted a video, and I can't fucking find it, and I saw it on my phone, and it was really blurry, and it was a really crappy quality, and of course, people were saying, oh, maybe it was fan-made or whatever. where it was the logo, and this was animated. It wasn't a still photo. It was the logo of Avengers 3, the Infinity War, and it was the Age of Avengers Infinity War, the logo spinning, but it had spider webs all over it. And I can't fucking find it to save my life. I saw the
probably
video
got taken down, maybe.
Yeah, I saw it on my phone, but I was watching it on my phone, and it was a cell phone video. It was one of those horrible, videos that come out early, and it was either leaked or some person that was brilliant made it on their phone, made it on their computer, and then shot it with their phones to make it look like it was like some sort of leaked footage. But if that was some leaked footage, I mean, first of all, what a fucking incredible get, what an incredible, something way before it came out. But that I'm just super fucking excited. I mean, Marvel's going to do it right. Of course, people are speculating if it's going to be the Miles Morales. Or it's going to be the half black, half. I want to say he's half black, half Dominican. I always forget. But which would, I mean, it would fit in with their, they really are trying to push the diversity. I mean, seriously, when you watch the Avengers, it is a bunch of fucking white guys. You know what I'm saying? It would be definitely bold of them to put in, that established Spider-Man, since us as fans has already had quote unquote Spider-Man, quote unquote the Amazing Spider-Man. So let's have this all new 2015 Spider-Man who's black. But I mean, but also I think the audience, unfortunately, I don't think America as a whole is ready for Miles Morales.
I think that if you're going to introduce a black Spider-Man, you have to introduce him with Peter Parker at some point. So I think we're a little too far from that. But
I mean, the nerdy part of me would like to see it, but the realistic part of me is like, it ain't gonna happen. That's way too much of a stretch for it to get people to say, what? A black Spider-Man? What?
And I think that I hope there was something in there that said something about a younger Spider-Man, and I'm like, I don't want to see a young Spider-Man. I'm going to be honest with you. If we're going to do Spider-Man, I would like to see a Spider-Man that's, I don't want to say like Batman, where he's like weathered in Batman versus Superman. I'm saying more like, he's been around the block, but he's still learning kind of deal. And apparently, he's supposed to be involved with Civil War. Mm-hmm. That still seems to be the course. It would work well with the storyline because, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Chris, but he shadows Tony Stark because he's trying to learn different things, including all the technology that Stark has. So,
well, I mean, of all because when we have what's beneficial for the movies is what we've had. Iron Man is West Coast. Avengers took place in New York City, but Manhattan, New York City. Peter Parker. Okay, although he in the comics, whatever, he does most of his crime fighting in New York City. I think they can go like in a weird direction where make him more of a Queens guy. Because Peter Parker does live in Queens. I mean, that's sort of like the established history. He's a guy who has to commute into the city to fucking fight crime. And especially with with the Daredevil. Daredevil's coming soon, and that's part of the Marvel continuity, and that takes place in Manhattan. Spider-Man could be more of a street level character, because he's not a cosmic character. He's not a god. He's not a millionaire. He's not he's not a monster. He's a crime fighter. He's a street level crime fighter. And so, I mean, of course, he gets lucky enough to be brought into things. And of course, you could, it takes 2 seconds to say, oh, Shield, we've been following this kid. Of course, I'm 99% sure they're going to go that way. They can say, oh, we follow, just to say, Shield's not around anymore, but Shield was following him until, they fell apart. They can, it's very easy to say, oh, well, he's been fighting, while we were here saving the fucking city from a fucking, and, a whole army of aliens, he was catching purse snatchers. It's just unfortunately our efforts were, our attention was directed towards the fucking giant spaceships in the sky as opposed to, the guy dressed in red and blue helping the old lady not get mugged.
It's going to be really interesting to see as well, like, you know, taking Spider-Man a little bit out of this equation right now. If you remember from Iron Man 3, Tony Stark, like, basically got rid of all of his suits because he didn't want anybody to control them or be able to do what they did with them, you know, in the first place. So I just find it interesting that all of a sudden Tony Stark, well, first of all, he doesn't have the chest thing anymore, so it's going to be interesting to see how he operates Iron Man without using that. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you know, War Machine had his own control center, so obviously, you know, you don't need to have that in your chest to control a suit. But there again, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how he, you know, does that. And I kind of want them, and I'm hoping in Avengers 2 they do this, you know, show us where all of a sudden, like, this Hulk-busting Iron Man suit was. Because it just seems to me like maybe Tony didn't destroy, maybe he had this before and he just didn't destroy it.
Yeah, I mean, he had his suits, but, like, I mean, of course, you know, when you get into the comics and like, even when you watch, like, the cartoon, like, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like, he has hundreds of Iron Man outfits. You know, he has the money, you know, because each of them is a little specialized. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, we saw a bunch of them blow up in Iron Man 3, but, I mean, one, he could probably crank out a whole bunch real quick because he has the resources. You know, so, I mean, yeah, okay, he blew him up to make a point, and he didn't, you know, he was trying to save, you know, he was trying to make a point to Pepper Potts and all this other bullshit, you know, but for him to go, okay, you know, I want 100 more by next week, he has the resources to make that happen. You know, he has okay, here's the Iron Man suit that I'm going to use if I have to go through outer space. Here's the Iron Man suit if I'm in the Arctic Circle. Here's a suit that can go, you know, into the fucking bottom of the ocean. You know,
which you know, also, by the way, like, there's been scenes released where War Machine, I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, is actually Rhodey's actually in the movie. So it's going to be interesting to see if, I don't think it will happen, but it would be interesting to see if War Machine is involved at all.
Oh, you know, well, Don Cheadle's in the movie because remember, he's even in the scene where they're all trying to lift Thor's hammer. And remember, they both have Rhodey and Tony have their you know, the Iron Man and War Machine gloves on with the you know, retro rockets blasting or whatever. And so and I even saw I saw a video where they kind of like really tear up they really look in depth into the video, and there's even a scene. It's right when Ultron comes out, you know, and right. He reveals himself for the first time. Where you see like he's holding his arm, you know, Don Cheadle or whatever, Rhodey, he's holding his arm, obviously probably still hurting from trying to lift Thor's hammer, you know. So he's definitely in the movie. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna have a big part, but he's definitely there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see what he plays, but I don't know, it's just going to be interesting to see how Avengers 2 evolves, what's going to happen in Civil War, and what's going to happen going forward, because we really don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously, you know, people have read the comics, and they have their ideas of what this one's going to be like, but you know how these fucking directors are. They change shit up all the time. So, it should be interesting to see how this movie... And I'm going to be honest with you, I think this movie is going to be a setup for number 3, for Civil War, and then Civil War is going to set up Part 3, or Avengers 3, Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah. I mean, so, it's so funny that, like, this movie where, you know, had you told me, like, you know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, like, oh, they're coming out, like, it's, you know, oh my God, that's going to be the ultimate movie. But now they've already released, you know, all these plans for so many other movies.
Yeah.
Like, this one is almost like an afterthought. Like, yeah, Ultron, yeah, okay.
Well, it's supposed to be like, apparently, like, you know, there was talk about like one of the superheroes or two of the superheroes is going to die, but pretty much all of them are going to be in a movie after this. And then, like, what else? For example, like, God, what am I trying to think here? Like, they're saying that everybody, all the original Avengers are going to be back for Part 2 of Avengers 3, and that, you know, and again, this is probably just rumor, but, you know, if that is the case, then, okay, how does Captain America, you know, survive? Apparently Thor's is supposed to die or something. Like, one of the rumors is Thor's going to die in number 3, which I think is stupid, if that's the case. Mm-hmm. You know, and... okay, so how does Thor come back all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, well, I think it's totally speculation that they're going to say that he's going to go into one of the crazy realms, the alien realms. So that's going to be why he disappeared for so long. He's going to go out and do Thor things.
Well, number three is going to Thor 3 is going to determine some things too. So, because apparently, I think it's Civil War, then Thor 3, and then Avengers. The schedule's been changed so many times now. I don't even know anymore. Because
and now they're and I think are they playing with the idea of a Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2017 that will come out. Basically, it's not going to be. From what I'm hearing, it's not going to be. It's going to be what it's supposed to be. It's basically, you know who Spider-Man is. We don't have to do anything. It's going to be less on a love story, but it will be there, and it'll probably end up. There was actually something said in one of the articles that I read about the Spider-Man deal, where apparently this will mean that. Basically, what it means is everybody could show up. Everybody from the Marvel Universe could show up in Spider-Man. So I'm ready for that too. I'm ready for Tony Stark to just show up in fucking Spider-Man because it makes sense. He's crossed over into that.
Oh universe. Yeah, no, and they're definitely gonna, the whole, just the fact that Peter Parker is a nerd. Peter Parker is a nerd with the knowledge, but not the resources. And Tony Stark is a guy who has the resources. So I'm gonna very easily slide into Peter Parker being going to Tony Stark oh my God, I love your work. I'd love to work with you. And then of course, hopefully they'll make it interesting and make Tony Stark treat him like total shit. You know what I'm saying? And sort of in a father figure kind of way. I'm not going to be easy on you. I'm going to bust your fucking balls because I want you to do better. That kind of deal. That'd be awesome.
Well, actually, I think they could do, and I think this is a perfect idea. I'm just throwing this out there, but there was that. If you've seen the original animated series, there was an episode where it was Venom and Carnage, and they started working together, and then Venom's like, "Fuck this, you're an asshole, get the fuck away from me," basically kind of thing, and Carnage just went completely utterly nuts. And Venom started helping them, and that's how Venom started to become a good guy. I could kind of see that being a way to set up Venom and them doing a Venom movie, because apparently that's still a go, as far as I know. I know the Sinister Six is still a go. So, you could actually, in the standalone movie, you could set up Venom properly, do it the right way, and even have, an Iron Man come in and help you, or, whatever, adventures that we don't even know about show up, The sky's the limit now, And I'm sure Disney's sitting there going, "Excellent, excellent. We have completed the deal."
And I saw a commercial. It's for this thing called the Marvel Experience, and it's basically this thing they set up. It comes to these football stadiums, and they set up a big dome inside the football stadium, and they project this whole Marvel story while you're there, and they got people dressed up like Iron Man and Incredible Hulk and all this other shit. But I mean, I've also read online. I read tons of reviews saying that it sucks balls and it's horrible and it's a waste of money and they're just trying to gouge you for your money. But and once again, I mean, it's a Disney thing. They got to get the shit together.
They got to get the money any way they want. If they're going to drain it, they're definitely going to drain it.
I mean, it's going to be, how soon, how many, and how many years is it going to be where, you go to Disney World and there's going to be the Avengers ride.
All I'm saying, Chris, is I just want to see Spider-Mouse. What the hell happened to Mickey? You don't want to know.
And I'm pretty sure if you go to Disney right now, I'm pretty sure you can at least buy a shirt that's Mickey Mouse wearing the Spider-Man outfit.
Well, I do think, if I remember correctly, what happened is the Spider-Man deal, basically, what people have to understand is Sony owned the movie rights to Spider-Man. So they were obligated to do Spider-Man movies. Whereas the other part of Spider-Man, which is where he would actually be at Disneyland and everything, Disney owned that part. So, hey, now they have the whole thing. Well, now they don't really have the whole thing. I mean, Sony still has control over Spider-Man, basically, but
Yeah, but Marvel's not going to fuck this up. I mean, so
Oh, no.
all Sony has to do is sit back and fucking cash the check. I mean,
Exactly.
it's the easiest couple millions they're ever fucking make.
Apparently, there's a rumor that Disney may actually buy Sony, so I'm really confused by that, and I'm also kind of like, okay, that's true. Like, damn, Disney just wants to take over the world, but. Yeah, so I mean, this news will be interesting. I would love to continue with this, but it's 12:34 in the morning, and Paul's got to get up in the morning.
All right, and then I just want to throw this out there, totally off topic, but once again, friend of the show, George Christic, he posted some videos. He posted some pictures on his Twitter and on his Facebook page where him and Chris Pernosky, the head of Titmouse, went to go visit Bad Robot Studios. And, for those, for the five of you who don't know what that means, Bad Robot is, J.J. Abrams' company. I mean, the people who are doing, the Star Wars movie now, people who've done, J.J. Abrams, was part of Star Trek. And, George Christic is a huge Star Trek nerd. I mean, he loves Star Wars also, but I mean, he's a fan of both continuities. He's written for Star Wars, The Clone Wars. I mean, so I don't, I hope. I don't want to read into it too much, but I mean, Chris Pernosky, is the head of Titmouse. I mean, all those, Metalocalypse and Megas XLR and Venture Brothers and all these cartoons, Black Dynamite, all these cartoons that are on fucking Adult Swim, and now they went to J.J. Abrams studios in California. I could only imagine what I hope it wasn't a social visit. I hope there was a little more. I hope there was some business behind that. But whether it be maybe there's some sort of J.J. Abrams property that might end up getting a cartoon or something like that.
That would be nice, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, or someone who's written for Star Wars: The Clone Wars being part of a future Star Wars property, maybe in a way. I don't know.
Oh, God.
All right. So, we like to tell our listeners, if this is the first time you're listening to the show, please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net, where you can find all things show-related. First and foremost, if you have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Just go to the iStore or whatever. Go to the podcast. Just look up Two Strangers on Podcast. So you can find the link actually on our page, twostrangersonepodcast.net. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can follow us on Stitcher. It's the app that I use to listen to all my podcasts. STITCHER. Every podcast worth listening to is on there. Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, Kevin Smith's Modcast, This American Life, Mark Maron, Adam Carolla, and of course the Toonami Faithful podcast. You could all find them on Stitcher.
Of course.
You can, the greatest thing you can do for this show, of course, we'd like your cash. We want money. But if you don't have money to spare, it takes 2 seconds to like us on Facebook. It takes 2 seconds to share this particular episode or share the whole page in and of itself on Facebook. It's free. It takes 2 seconds of your time, and it makes life for us a little more easier, because the more likes we get, then we can kind of go out there and tell advertisers, look who we have, look how many followers we have, So that would fucking really, really help if you could just do that.
And if you went streaking in the quad.
We're going streaking!
And as you're running through the quad, you go, listen to Two Strangers, One Podcast.
And you can... And if you want to get in contact with us, and once again, thank you for everyone who has been getting in contact with us, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. I keep forgetting that we have a Twitter, and I really should be a lot more active on it. I mean, I do a lot of activity on my Twitter, which it's funny when I get a lot of new follows and stuff like that. I'm hoping, and it is weird when I do get a bunch of follows. That's when our numbers tend to get a little bump in the ratings when I interact with people on Twitter and stuff like that. So keep it up, people. And when if you want to share the podcast on Twitter, then once again, Stranger Podcast, and you can put the links on Twitter. It'd be freaking awesome. I can't think of anything else. Zach, we asked the floor to you, sir.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pasquillo. My last name is spelled PESCRILLO. You can also go to my Instagram. It's instagram.com/Paul Pasquillo. I tend to put a lot of weather-related photos up, and I did a video the other day, just so that you guys can see what the hell we're dealing with up here. And trust me, you don't when I come up here at this time.
Yeah, I fucking hate snow. Oh Jesus Christ! If I never see snow again, it'll be too soon.
And then I have an ask.fm. It's ask.fm/Paul Viscardi. You can ask me questions there, and I'll answer whatever I can. Again, I'd love to see more non-Toonami related questions, and I've started to see that since people have been listening to both podcasts. But please, if you can, try to get over in the right paper. If you can't, then now I understand why. So that's it.
Well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. Bro.
Bye.
Oh, I'm itching my balls. That just threw you off, didn't it?
You should be fapping.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
but it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show. I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne. Right
No,
now,
sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.